Welcome back, my warriors. Welcome back to the 1% Club. 1%. Hope you guys are having a great day. So, once again, I want to thank you for the subscriptions and comments. I had another great question here in our communication class that I teach. And we're talking about the issue of what if you're sitting there and you want to get out of a conversation and you don't want to sit there and waste your energy talking to somebody who's just going to bring you down. Now here again, guys, this is kind of, well, before I do, subscribe, comment, and like. As we talk about this, remember, and I talked about this with the last videos on marriage and, can men and women be friends and things like this. Guys, I'm going to go back to the same old thing that I'm talking about here. Your time is valuable. And take it from me, I think as you get older, you realize that even more. Your time is valuable. It's even more valuable than the money. You want to use your time as wisely as you can. And that means you're going to surround yourself with people who are going to add things to your life, not take away. They're not going to take away your energy. They're not going to take away your emotional energy or physical energy. They're not going to take away your money. They're not going to take away things that you've worked hard and you're working hard to achieve. So you have to be very calculated. And this is why I say you got to think about yourself a little bit here. Don't be putting other people, women, on pedestals, in this case if you're male. Don't be putting women to the point where they are dictating your life. Don't be chasing people, right? And you need to make decisions. If people are infringing on your time and your money, you have to get rid of that or move away. Okay? And we talked about trying to get away a couple times in the video as well. You have to try to be able to learn how to disengage. Now, I'm not saying ghosting necessarily. I don't think that's a right way to do it either. But you got to be honest and say, okay, this is not helping me. I'm not being helped in this situation. Right? And one of those things that happens is when you're in a conversation. So you're in a conversation with somebody and they're draining the heck out of you. And you don't really want to be them. Now, sometimes you want to try to help your friend and that person is venting. And that's okay. One time I was in a conversation with somebody and I said one word for 2 hours the person was talking, but because they were a close friend of mine and we had shared a lot together, I listened. And she had said this was the best situation, this is the best conversation she ever had. And I only said one word. But I was really drained because I listened so much that it took me, my energy left me. And I was okay with that one because this person had meant a lot to me and that was okay. But in situations where people are just not random people or people around you that are just not meaning that much, it's costing you more than the reward you're getting out of it. So what do you do in that type of situation? So let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit. I actually listed 4 types of things you can do. So as you're talking to this person, as the person's talking to you, the first thing you have to do is kind of give them nonverbal signals. What do I mean by that? Well, when you look at them in a certain way, you need to send the message to them that I am not interested or I'm not happy with this discussion. That could be a frown, that could be looking at them in a certain way, but somehow non-verbally you have to go ahead and say to this person, look it, I don't like what we're talking about here. I don't want to be part of this. I'm going to walk away. Okay? Especially when you get in a situation where someone is threatening you. Obviously, if you have to defend yourself, you're going to defend yourself. But before you do that, you need to first give them the sign. Now, whether they pick that up or not, you don't know. A lot of people are not very good at picking up nonverbal signals, so they may not pick those up. I've been teaching this for many years, and one of the reasons I got into it originally was because I was very poor at picking up nonverbal signals. And still a lot that I need to learn over the years, even though I've been teaching this for over 30 years. Okay? So the first thing you do is you give nonverbal signals to tell the person, I'm not really interested in continuing this conversation. It could be the way your body is moving to the side when you're talking to the person. Now, hopefully they pick those messages up and decide, okay, let's change the conversation, talk about something else, or maybe we need to kind of exit the conversation totally. Okay? Now, if that doesn't work, we'll go to step 2. And step 2 is the indirect warning. This is when you kind of make a joke or some sort of indirect type of statement telling the person, I'm not really interested in this any longer. You've offended me. Saying something like, hey, where are we going with all this, right? What is going on here? And say it in a way where it's kind of half joking. You're not being direct yet because you're trying to give this person a chance to kind of back away. Now, once again, a lot of people are very oblivious to these type of things. So even though you're giving them signals like that, indirect warning, you may not be able to do that, right? So the first part is looking at your nonverbal signals, try to give those. Then a second thing to do, if you're still in that conversation, is an indirect warning, okay? Now, number 3, if they still have not listened, or they're not changing, or they're continuing with this, is actually just calling out. Saying something like, hey, buddy, what are we talking about here, right? I'm not happy about this conversation. Let's move to something else, okay? Let's agree to disagree, and let's kind of move to a different type of discussion. You want to try to diffuse it as much as possible, especially if you're in situations where you got drinking and other things going on, you're in a bar. It's very easy to get into a physical type of fight after that. But right now, you're still at the stage where you're trying to diffuse this. I don't want to talk about this. Hey, buddy, let's not fight about this, okay? Let's kind of relax a little bit, okay? Let's talk about something else. Let's get to a different point in doing that. So you're trying all the ways you can from a communication standpoint to kind of get out of that conversation so that you're not drained and that you're actually enjoying yourself with this person. Now, you hope that one of those three things work. But as people are, we know people, especially with egos that they have, and the fact that they'll continue on what they're talking about is they're just going to continue talking. And maybe they won't stop. Maybe they'll continue to give you a difficult time for whatever reason. All right? Now, this is also something important, and we talk about men and women, because men and women do like to test. And so you need to kind of, and I called this the BS before, but you need to kind of cut that stuff out right away. Call it out, right? Call it out for what it is. If that person is saying, if you're saying it's something you don't like, he says, don't test me. Okay? Just don't test me. I don't like your manipulation. Let's not talk about this. So you need to put them on call saying, I'm aware of what you're doing here, and I don't like it. Okay? And then number 4, the last part of it, those 3 don't work, you need to exit. Now, I say that, and some of you may look at me and say, well, warrior, our purpose is to fight. We got to fight. We got to kind of battle. We got to defend ourselves, right? And I would say to you that that's accurate, except for the fact that in this type of situation, because you're not fighting for something that you believe in, you're going to end up losing a lot of energy for nothing. Guys, and this came out of a lot of the studies, and I'll do one on Attila the Hun because I like Attila the Hun. Looking at his life and what he said, and I know many people think he's like a savage and things like that, but there are a lot of things behind what he said and did that are very important. And one of these things that you want to look at is this whole idea is that he only fought battles when he had to fight battles. He was a vicious warrior when he had to fight a battle. You have to look at what you're getting out of this. If you're in a conversation or even a relationship that's bringing you down, dragging you, and you're complaining about it all the time, that's not a relationship you should be in. But to fight about it and to go ahead and kind of give the other person just as much hassle makes no sense. All it does, it gets you angry, and now you've lost the energy. And guys, take it from me. I've done this many, many times over the years. I think I'm better with it now, but I'm also 60 years old as well. But don't allow people to get you angry. That's the best way you can lose your energy. You want to stay focused, calm, be that stoic person. You're sitting there, but don't allow the other person to get you angry. And so if you have to leave the conversation on number 4 here, leave the conversation. Doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you're going to go ahead and regroup and say, okay, I'm going to spend my time else wisely. Now, if it's something that's really important to you, for instance, if somebody's knocking on the door and they got a gun at your head, obviously you're fighting them. There's no doubt about it, right? You're not going to give in to things that are going to make things worse. So we're talking about a degree here. But in most conversations you have with people, it's not going to be the end of the world. And if you don't want to sit there and deal with this, then it's time, and step 4, if the person hasn't changed in your nonverbal comments, in their indirect warnings, and the call out, and the last step then, go ahead and just leave. And this person's going to think about what you're saying to them. Because by getting angry and upset, all you're doing is adding fuel to the fire. And some people, guys, they like to debate. I've run into this situation many, many times. There's people who like to fight because it creates drama for them. Maybe they're bored, maybe they have nothing else going on, and they love to debate, right? They love to go ahead and fight somebody. They want to create a fight, battle. If no drama's going on, and they feel like, well, I've got to create some drama. Now they do this subconsciously, but still they do. You have to avoid this like the plague. Get out of there. Get out of there and focus on something that's positive. Generate your energy into positive types of things, and you're going to become a lot more successful. So, in summary, use nonverbal communication, use indirect warnings, use call out, and just exit out of there. If this person is going to waste your time and energy, sucking the life out of you for no reason, but just to kind of get validation for themselves. It's not worth it for you, and it's certainly not worth it for them either. Now, don't be surprised if they come back after you because you're rejecting them in a certain way. But you got to stay strong. And unless it's something you really want to fight for, then I would say there's nothing wrong with walking away from a situation so you keep your energy intact. All right, hope that answers this question we were talking about in class. And I'll talk to my students about this at some point over the next couple of days, early next week. Until next time, my friends, battle on.